Howdy there, Batman.
I don't think that Bane would ever say howdy.
Yes, he would.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Beau and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped on an Info Dump podcast.
Howdy, listeners, and welcome to episode whatever of
Did you
Get
just say
Dumped On.
howdy?
And-
I'm sorry.
It's so
What?
polite.
I'm not allowed to say howdy?
No, you can. It's polite, and I love it.
Sorry. That threw me off guard. Go on.
Sometimes I say howdy. It's fine. Don't worry too much about it. It's okay. I'll say howdy, and it'll be fine.
Hey, howdy.
Don't let him dull your sparkle.
Yeah, it's my sparkle.
Shine on,
howdy,
shine on, buddy. Shine on.
Oh, thanks. Hey, listeners, and welcome to episode whatever of Get Dumped On, an Infodump podcast. I've forgotten which episode it is. I think it's 7. But us saying the number of the episode every time just kind of removes our ability to remove embarrassing episodes. So I guess it's good because it means that we have to commit to every episode.
He's already spiraling.
No, it's fine. So today, this week, we've got Ash doing a little info dump. Now, eagle-eared listeners may notice that we're breaking pattern here and having Ash do 2 in a row. And that's because I was lazy and didn't prepare material for the recording night tonight. That's fine, though, because I'll just go next. And it'll, don't worry about it. It'll be great. So I will not spoil the topic by saying it right here. And instead, I'll let Ash take it away. Do you want to go? Go. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, here I go. Thank you for that introduction.
Also,
Usually-
Beau and Andrew and Asher.
Yeah,
here
you
as well.
forgot.
Yeah,
Welcome
Andrew
to the
and Beau
podcast.
here.
The podcast where 4 friends dump their knowledge on other people. Go for it.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the host also says the topic, but that's totally fine. We're going to be talking about tattoos today. Tattoos in prehistory. I want to talk about the oldest archaeological examples of tattoos that we see in the archaeological record, and I'm very, very excited.
No, I just would like to say that if it wasn't for the fact that Andrew interrupted and yelled at me, I would have totally nailed all of those parts. But instead,
Yeah.
you threw me off my rhythm.
Well, howdy, y'all.
People can say howdy.
I'm sorry. No, it's fine. I'm not shitting on that. It's just that threw me off guard.
It sounds like you're
'Cause
shitting.
I've honestly
on it,
never heard you.
Everyone's
I've
just off
honestly,
guard right now.
I've never heard you say howdy before.
You've
And I've-
never heard
I've
me say-
not
I say
known you
howdy
for a long
all the
time.
though. I've never
I
heard
say
you
howdy
howdy
a lot.
until today.
I say howdy way more often than any person from the East Coast should say it, but I do. It's part of who I am. It's part of my brand.
That's fine.
I was a
That's
howdy
cool.
guy for a long time. I was definitely a howdy guy for a long time.
What's your go-to hello there, Beau? Like when you first meet someone or you see someone in public that you know well enough to where you're not going to address them like like, hey, what's up, you son of a bitch? What's your go-to?
Hey.
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 Yeah, same. Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
What's
Okay.
Hey, you son of a
Okay,
bitch.
Ash,
All right,
take
let's
us
talk
away,
about
you son of a bitch.
All right. Do you want to start off by talking about how many tattoos everyone has?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Is that serious or is that sarcastic?
Sorry, I was taking a drink of water. No, that was serious. I always like to talk about, our relationship to the topic before we start talking about the topic. I think it's fun.
I like that.
I
That's a good idea.
have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 4.
A one.
It's going to be
A two.
1 because I had a forearm
3.
tattoo and then I'm getting it into a lower sleeve
Oh, whoops.
tattoo. So that's technically 1, but 3 or 4.
Hey, can you edit out my whoops? I dropped the bowl.
It's always bowls with you. It's always bowls.
You're gonna hear
it.
Why
It's
do you
just
have
behind the
clanking
balls on your
around.
desk?
When we peek behind the curtain, when we edit these episodes, we're always having to edit out Beau's bowl sounds because he eats like a pig every fucking episode.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
And talk
That was
about
very
attacking
aggressive.
people. Holy shit.
This episode is, you're good. Coming in hot.
This is
First,
actually
you can't say
a
howdy.
man.
You started it, Andrew. Okay, so
Me?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay,
interrupted
Beau eats
Zach.
like a
Okay, it's fine.
hog every episode. Is that better?
Okay. I have 3 to 4 tattoos. How many tattoos do you have, Zach?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tattoos.
Beau?
I'm afraid to talk. I might be called a fucking pig or a fucking hog or something. So
God damn.
apparently, I'm gonna get insulted if I just do anything. Shit. Howdy, I've got this many tattoos.
I'm sorry. I came in far too hot. The energy's all wrong. I'll be nicer. I'm really sorry I called you a pig. It came out a lot
This
more.
is my favorite episode.
It
so
came
far.
out a
This is
lot
great.
more aggressively than I was expecting it to. I was supposed to be like, you pig, but instead it came out, you fucking pig.
Someone big in like a low key kind of way.
And they try to make it better by calling me a hog. It's still just worse.
I mean, would you rather be a pig or a hog?
I'd rather be neither. This
They're
isn't
the same.
This isn't a would you rather situation. I just don't call me it.
This is quickly turning into therapy.
Is this therapy? Have you?
Oh
okay.
my god! Well, like airing of grievances. It's like Festivus.
Where's the Festivus poll? Okay, how many tattoos
Beau,
do you
how
have?
many
Beau?
tattoos do you have?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh,
10,
tattoos is not
11,
tattoos is.
12, 13, 14. 14 tattoos.
Dang.
All right, which one was your first, and which one is your favorite?
My first would be my son's name on my back. And my favorite is my Shy Guy tattoo.
Oh, that's so
Cute.
cute. I love a good shy guy.
So tattoos are kind of seen now as like I feel like
Hey,
the
you didn't ask
general-
me how many tattoos I have.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Andrew. I know the answer,
Yeah,
but how
oh
many
my
tattoos do you
God.
have?
I have what's called nature's tattoos, where I have scars on my body from various times that I've hurt myself.
I also have those.
all
I have a couple
over.
of-
I have no official tattoos. Like I'm a purist when it comes to tattoos. I don't like sit in a chair when somebody does the little beat thing on me. I let nature do their tattoo
It's a
on
wonderful
my body.
experience.
Okay, and so what's your first, and which one's your favorite?
First one I got, actually, I know this, I think. There's one on my forehead from when I had chickenpox as a child. It's still there. However, my favorite one is when I was at the dump and I was throwing trash away for my previous employer. And one of the things of the trash was a giant metal rusty furniture dolly. And I didn't know that it like folded and stuff. So I picked it up to throw it off the truck in the dump, and it opened as I was throwing it and sliced across the bottom of my kneecap. And it went all the way in, all the way to the bone. And it was wet. It was rusty,
Oh.
and it was at the dump. The trifecta of infections. So I still have that scar is massive on my
Did it
leg.
get? Did
So
it
that's my
get
favorite
infected?
one.
Did you have a tetanus
It
shot?
did not.
Did you get a tetanus shot?
But I do have a story. I'll tell it at the end of this pod. We'll do a little epilogue thing maybe after like the final thing. But I do have a fun story about what the doctor said about it and how it was kind of freaky.
No,
but I'll tell you
No,
later.
here's the thing.
Okay.
Will you remember? Because I may not remember.
Probably not.
I
Probably
will.
not.
I will.
Okay.
I'm making a note
Okay,
right
make a
now.
note.
Did you see how pretentious he sounded before? I have nature tattoos.
That's like
sitting
I went.
there.
I sound like Zach when he talks about how he used to talk about music.
I went to the School of Hard Knocks. That's what's on my college in Facebook profile.
So tattoos are seen as like kind of like a newfangled thing. I feel like these kids in their tattoos, or it's also seen as like a low brow or like low class. I also feel like they have that perception like in American society.
I think they
but-
definitely did at one point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe,
it's
like, as we
changing
were
now,
growing up,
definitely.
Yeah, as we were growing up, it was definitely like that guy has tattoos over there. He's either a biker or was in jail or
Or a biker in jail.
Mhm.
or a biker
Both.
in jail. So yeah, I love that millennials now and our the other generation have been like, it's fucking cool, dude. Who cares?
Yeah, and it makes me so excited, especially because I, knowing that these things exist, these tattoos in prehistory exist, and studying just human evolution in general, tattoos are one of the purest ways to me that we can still like express our humanity because people have been doing it forever. Very soon after we became people at all, like evolved from Australopithecines, we have been displaying our sense of selves on our body. Like, we can't argue, we don't have the evidence that tattoos go back that far. Like, we have like personal pendants and like figurines and jewelry and stuff from much farther back than we have tattoos. But I think that that's more of a problem of preservation than like the non-existence of it. I think you can argue that tattoos are probably much older than we have evidence.
That makes a lot of
for.
sense. because eventually skin just kind of rots away. I mean, what's the oldest skin that we have? We're probably going to get in touch. We're probably going to get into that on this episode, aren't we?
Do we know that?
Well, just like the oldest skin that we know of, the oldest skin that somebody's found.
Yeah, I'm sure that
Oh,
information
okay,
exists
okay.
somewhere, but I don't know what it is. I don't think that it's these. Yeah. It's the skin and the hair. That's what you don't really think about in
Ooh,
archaeological
I
excavations.
could tell
but
you
like
stories about
the hair.
Oh, I have found so much
we will.
goddamn
We will.
hair
Don't worry.
out in the field, and it's horrible. I hate it. I found a bag full of hair once.
Was the bag
Yeah.
also as old as the hair, or was?
Yeah, it was from around.
okay.
It was they were both like 1,500 years old. I feel like this is an important part for me to. Have I mentioned on the pod yet that I am that I have a master's degree in archaeology, and that's why I've found a very old bag of hair.
I'm an
I think that's
Indiana
important
Jones.
context.
Oh, look at
I
me
think
looking
that's
for
important
hair.
context, yeah.
Archaeological digs.
You're not just like some fucking weirdo who like goes out and looks for
Yeah.
hair. Like it's there was a purpose.
He's also some
Well,
weirdo who
hopefully-
looks out for hair.
I hate.
Oh, absolutely
I hate,
not.
I
Zach
hate
hates
touching
hair.
the hair.
Zach hates
I hate
hair when it's
touching
not
the
on
hair.
heads.
Then
The
why does he
touching
keep
hair is
asking me to
awful.
mail him hair?
So that's an old Seinfeld thing. Seinfeld said like that was in the show. Like where's the disconnect between being on your head, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to touch it, it's beautiful, to where if it falls out of your head, it's immediately disgusting.
That's just a thing, Sometimes things are gross.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the jingle at the
Anyway.
beginning of this episode told you that Zach and Ash are super smart and they went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. So that is one of the things that Zach went to college for, obviously.
I mean,
Yeah,
Andrew didn't,
sometimes that's
and
the way that
sometimes
life
it just
goes sometimes.
happens.
Okay, bringing us back, getting us back
Bring it
around.
back.
This,
Bring it
this
around
episode.
town.
Just so like you guys know, we see figurative art in evolutionary history and human history about 45,000 years ago. We have abstract designs that they're essentially just like geometric designs that are carved into rocks. And that's 73,000 years ago. So like geometric designs and figurative art go back like really far.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to get into all the specifics of those. So all of you who are like, hey, what about those? Don't worry. Those are coming because it's some of my favorite things to talk about. I love early human stuff because humans are crazy. And so I'm going to start off with a little 2 dumps and a chump right off the bat for you, even though it's
Ooh, I
15
love it.
minutes into the episode.
Let's do it. Let's get spicy.
What do you think the subject matter of the oldest tattoos is? Do you think it is? There's one that's incorrect. Do you think it's geometric designs? Do you think it's symbolic designs? Or do you think it's names?
Sidebar.
Sidebar. Ooh,
Sidebar.
it's kind of-
Sidebar,
hey,
sidebar.
Hey, sidebar.
Sidebar.
Sidebarring over here.
It has been a minute since the
I'm
last sidebar.
recusing myself
Zach,
from
you in
this,
this? Do you know this,
dumpy
Zach?
chumpy situation? Yeah.
Yeah,
Zach
you,
and I are going to have our own sidebar over
yeah,
here.
you just don't want to hang out with fucking hogs. I get it. That's
Wow.
cool.
Well, Ash just mentioned geometric stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so names,
thinking names.
probably didn't exist because I don't think names existed back then because they would just go, "Meow." Like
Yeah,
no one had a name. There
what's
was no
your-
guy walking around named Irving.
Yeah, his name was
just, and you can't spell that.
No.
These words they probably made tattoos before there was written language.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought names right when she said names. That was my first answer anyway.
I am busting right into your sidebar. You guys are all over it. You got it. You got it exactly.
Oh, shit.
Okay, hey, yeah, we did it.
Although I don't agree.
Needs college, not this guy.
I don't
this
agree with
guy.
I don't agree with the pejorative nature in which you portrayed early humans because they probably did absolutely have names and like there was language there that it doesn't exist anymore that I'm sure was quite complex. But in terms of like 73,000 years ago, like you're just not writing things down readily.
I don't think you needed to write things down back then, right? There was no libraries, no cookbooks, no Twitter.
And I think oral traditions are very important to human history, and I think a lot of that carries through like why we don't find some stuff because we like to tell each other stories about our history and our past and our future.
Beau, real quick, that's the smartest that Beau and I have ever sounded on this
Yeah,
podcast.
that's true.
Was that last part?
While you guys are going ooga booga, ooga booga.
Well, in most places that you were also partially right about the origin of writing as well, Andrew, because in most of the places that did develop writing, it developed at about the same time that people started living in cities and stuff. And a lot of the earliest writing that we have is just like, yes, I was delivered 15 bushels of barley from this guy, and I owe this guy 90 units of currency for
And they weren't writing that
45
on a
pounds
human
of
with
copper.
tattoo gun.
And-
They were
No,
writing
they're
it
writing
on
on
paper.
clay tablets and paper. So
And one of the things that a teaser for a future episode, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I do want to bring this up, is that one of the oldest pieces of writing that we have is a letter complaining about the quality of copper that somebody was given. And so we know the name of this copper dealer solely
It's
because
the first Yelp review.
exactly, we know the name of this copper dealer solely because he pissed off some other guy that just had to write.
it was the first 1-star review.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god, I love that. Like I would love to read that live on the pod for when that pod happened. Not this pod.
Yeah,
obviously.
we'll talk about it. And I'll look up all of the good deeds.
That would be so cool to read that like as someone who's annoyed. You're like, I got this copper from Jedediah over
This
here.
freaking guy. So we're talking about when we were writing, when we're doing these things. So when do we see tattoos oldest in human history? So I'll tell you, I got them right here for you. The first one I want to talk about is Ötzi the Iceman.
I love that name so much. I want to name my son that.
Ötzi is awesome. He was found in the Italian Alps.
And that's why he's
Alps.
called Ötzi, is because he was in the Ötztal ranges.
He was found by two hiking tourists. He turned out to be one of the best preserved mummies that we have, and he's one of the oldest tattooed men that we know exists. So he's 45-ish at the time of his death, and he lived 5,300 years ago. And Zach is
Wow.
going to do...
So they were just in ice? Like what? How did they find it?
Yeah, he was just kind of hanging out in between two glaciers. Not
It was
glaciers, but-
really just really serendipitous that he was found. He was essentially encased within ice for pretty much almost the entirety of the time since he died. And he just happened to
Wow.
be melting out of the ice as these people were hiking through the mountains. And his body's really well preserved.
So it's the story of Encino Man, except way more,
Yeah, his
historically-
body
It's
looks a
Iceman.
little less
Awesome.
fresh
It's
than Brendan Fraser did.
Was he as handsome though? Oh my God, Brendan Fraser. Can we just get a quick appreciation for Brendan Fraser right here on this podcast that he'll definitely
I love
listen
Brendan
to?
I feel like your neck dump should be
Also-
Brendan Fraser just in general. How much you
But
talk about
it's Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
Whatever.
Okay,
They're
well, doesn't
purists.
care about
They're
That's
Brendan
what
Brendan-
Fraser.
they're
videos I'm saying.
they're
It's
Brendan
not Brendan
Fraser
Fraser. It's
purists.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, he corrected someone.
He's like, you stupid idiot.
Okay,
No, he was
He would never
extremely
say
nice
that.
about
He would
it.
never
say
He was
that.
extremely
He's a nice
nice
guy.
about
we
it.
call them gifts.
He's like John. He's
even
the
though
John
guy-
Scott of acting.
But no, so the next episode is, I think, going to be Zach's dump about Ötzi the Iceman, because Ötzi was preserved so well and he had so many things on his person that we learned so much about the time that he was alive from just him that we can devote an entire episode to him, and we absolutely should. But one of the things that's awesome about him is that he had tattoos. So he had 61 tattoos that were organized into 19 different groups, and these
Whoa.
were just geometric little sets of horizontal and vertical lines.
That guy was definitely.
I know this is
he
an
was in
audio
jail.
podcast,
He
but
was definitely in jail.
He was a biker
Yeah.
back then too. How do you spell Ötzi? Because I definitely want to see these. I want to look these up
OTZ.
myself.
OTZI.
Okay.
And
Cool.
they're honestly just little lines. They're little sets of lines. Some are long, some are short, some are horizontal, some are vertical. They're
Oh,
grouped in
that's
twos and
fucking awesome.
threes. I think he has a couple of lines all the way encircling his wrist on one of his wrists.
Dude, Ötzi's fucking. He's got fucking style, dude.
He's tatted.
He's fucking ready to party.
And it's thought that these tattoos, the best thing that people have come up with about why he has these tattoos is that we think that they could be due to medicine. So they're kind of clustering around his lower back and his joints, places where on his skeleton we see that he had joint degradation. He had arthritis and spinal denigration because he was old. He was 45. He was middle-aged. So this could possibly be an acupuncture thing, or just a way to diagnose what's going on, or just point to what's hurting, or even as some type of treatment. We don't really know, but that's kind of the best guess that we have right now for why he might have these.
He had 61 tattoos. Beau, how many did you have again?
700. Okay, I'm
Oh, wow,
lying.
okay.
I had,
Whoa,
I
whoa.
had 14. Was it 14?
Oh, you got to catch up, bro. Ötzi's got you beat.
Oh, I'm away. Let's see. You better watch yourself because I'm coming.
For the longest time, I was always saying that I wanted my first tattoos to be a replica of Ötzi's tattoos. But then I never got around to it. I don't know. I ended up getting other ones first. I should. The problem is that one of them is kind of in a very tramp stampy location, and I didn't want anyone to think that it was a tramp stamp.
I want to get Ötzi inspired tattoos where I have one of my feet is bones. The bones are wrong in one of my feet, and it hurts. And so I kind of want to get like Ötzi inspired tattoos on the places that it hurts, just for funsies.
That's a really cute idea.
Yeah.
You should absolutely do that. I think that's a really cute idea.
I'm gonna one up you and just get a tattoo of Ötzi's corpse. Take that.
Whoa.
Brad Pitt
With the
has
tattoos
that,
on it?
actually.
Yeah.
With the tattoos on.
Yep.
Yeah. I like
What did
that.
you say, Zach?
Brad Pitt has that actually. He has a silhouette of Ötzi tattooed on his body.
Well, fuck. Okay,
Oh, dang.
me and Brad Pitt in the same sentence. That's pretty fucking cool if you ask me.
And so for a long time, Ötzi was the oldest known tattoos in history. It was the oldest one that we had. Until
You just said head. Oh yeah, I was about to say you about to drop some new ones on us.
until the year 2019 when they re-found some new information. Oh,
They
before
found
we
a guy named Schmutzy.
whoa, before we move off of Ötzi, is that how you say it? I mean, I feel like I learned about Ötzi a long time ago, and that's just how I've been saying it since then. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Ötzi. Well, it's not Ötzi, it's Ötzi.
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 One thing I like to
Ötzi.
note that I think is very funny about Ötzi is that because he was encased in ice for so long, he's a wet mummy. They have to keep him wet for him to keep being preserved. So he's kept in an extremely cold room, and he's routinely sprayed down with sterile water, so that he's just kind of always iced.
It's a real damp guy.
So he's wet. He's a real wet mummy.
He actually,
I
remember.
hate that. I hate that they have to keep him moist. I imagine there's someone
Not
sitting
moist.
next to
Not
him,
moist.
just
Wet.
with like a spray bottle.
So
Wet.
Just, wet.
You
Just
said
like a mop, just like slapping him with a mop every 20 minutes. Like,
It's
hey,
actually
you gotta
after
go.
they-
You gotta go wet the mummy. Get in there.
It's automated sprinklers, but
you said they
Oh,
found him
okay.
in Italy, right?
yes.
Right. Okay, so he has a new term from Italian ice, shaved ice. Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, got him.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Pretty good for a hog, huh?
And so in 2019,
That's some pig.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
in 2019, some enterprising scientists decided to CT scan and infrared scan some mummies that were found over 100 years ago in 1896. And they discovered that upon CT scanning these old mummies that have been in some collection for, over 100 years, that they actually were tattooed. So these were dated to 5,500 years ago. They're found in Gebelin, Egypt, about 25 miles south of Thebes. There was a man and a woman. The man was an 18 to 21-year-old man who they actually found out they didn't know why he was dead originally when they found him in 1896. And then when they CT scanned him, they found out, one, that he had tattoos, but two, that he died from a fatal stab wound in the back when he was 18 to
buddy.
21 years old.
Buddy, who you fucking around with, bro?
Someone who found out, I guess.
Other people
Like
who
he's
went to jail.
Maybe it was his tattoo dealer who he didn't pay, or maybe he was in jail
His
for being a
tattoo
biker.
dealer.
So he gave him a wilderness, a natural tattoo with a stab wound.
Yeah, it's a natural tattoo, nature's tattoo.
It wasn't given by nature, but he was a natural mummy. He was not intentionally mummified. He was intentionally buried. So he was buried in a sand grave, which was like pretty standard at the time. This was about 1,000 years before Egypt actually like got really into mummification. But he was preserved naturally because of the arid conditions of the desert, and the hot beating sun just kind of shrunk him right up and preserved him extremely well. But it made his skin really dark. And so that's why they couldn't really see the tattoos until they scanned it with the infrared light.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please do.
What is a sand burial? So
Where you put them in the sand.
was he okay, yeah. Was he in like a coffin or a sarcophagus
No.
or anything like that? He was just
He was
fucking
in
dumped in
sand.
the sand?
No.
Just buried in the sand?
You dig a
That's so
hole in the
funny.
sand. From what I understand, I'm not an
You dig a hole in the
Egyptologist.
sand, and then you place them in the sand, and then that's it.
And then you cover them with
The
sand.
beauty is in the
Oh, you put the
simplicity.
sand on top of them, of
Yeah.
course. You put the sand on them. Oh my god, that fucking wrecked me. Good job.
And so the Gebelin man had a wild bull tattoo and a Barbary sheep on his upper arm.
I love that.
Why he had them, who knows? Was it to represent like strength? Was it to represent virility? Did he just think that they were neat? Like, I really don't know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with the third one. I'm gonna think that this guy was like, "Yo, these are pretty neat." I just like it's the Marge Simpson. I just like them because they're neat.
I think they're neat. I think that I have been of the opinion for a long time, and I will never stop having this opinion, that like discussions of history and archaeology really need to have a lot more kind of understanding of whimsy. Everything is always like has a purpose. It's like, oh, this is ritual purposes. This is belief purposes. This is like because it gave an advantage in hunting or something like that. But there needs to be more thought of, I think that they thought it was neat.
I think it was neat.
Whimsy. Just doing it
I
just
think
because.
that's I think that's why Beau has his tattoos, because I've seen a lot of your tattoos, Beau, and they seem like just things that you enjoy and you want them on your body.
Yeah, I look at it. and
Where
go,
other
"Ooh,
people are
that's
like,
neat."
I got this tattoo of this frog on me because my dad liked eating frog legs and it symbolizes something with a religious something or something. And you're just like, there's Shy Guy, look at him go.
Look
Yeah,
at him
I'm
go.
gonna put him on a sombrero and put it on my body.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's
I love that.
That's why I love, like, it's such a human impulse to be like, this means something to me. I like it. And I wanted to show it to people and display it on my person. Like, whether, we do it with the clothes we wear, we do it with the jewelry that we put on, and we do it with tattoos. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
Along with the Ghibelline man, there was a woman as well. Hers are more difficult to interpret. They're more figurative. So it's cool that Utsi was 5,300 years ago. He had geometric designs. These were 5,500 years ago. So, like, basically the same time, like 200 years difference. And these were figurative tattoos, like ones of animals, but also hers, which were 4 kind of S-shaped motifs that were drawn vertically on her right shoulder. And then her right arm had a long curved line. And researchers are not sure what they are. It's been hypothesized that maybe they're sticks, maybe they're batons. There's these ones that are used in like a dance that they know of from Egypt. So they're thinking maybe it was those. It could represent a crooked stave, which was a symbol of power and status. They don't really know, like it's kind of unclear at this point. Also, the same S-shaped motif appears in some pre-dynastic pottery, which is like a little bit earlier in Egypt. And even then, they don't really know what it's about. But it seems like it, obviously it was important in some way because she had them, right?
Yeah, she had them for hopefully a reason. And it wasn't like forced upon her like a John Wick thing.
And they noted that the locations of the tattoos would have made them very visible on her shoulder and like on her lower arm. So, it's hypothesized that it's not a problem that they had these, obviously. And they think that maybe it denoted some type of knowledge that this person had. So whether it was, medicinal, magical, political, like, who knows? But like it's they hypothesize that it's representative in some way of denoting this person's status to others.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. I love that.
And tattooing, this isn't the only time we see tattoos in ancient Egypt. Prior to this, people had found mummies from a little bit earlier in time from Egypt with it's women who have tattoos on their abdomens, and they're kind of like these dotted lines that go up and down over like around their belly button. And so they think that it was maybe related to protection during childbirth. Maybe these were midwives, people who like aided in childbirth. Because so far it was only women that had been found in Egypt with tattoos. For a long time, people thought that only women in Egypt got tattoos. But then when they found out that the Ghibelline man was found and he also has tattoos, they realized that that was an incorrect assumption and that it seems like men and women both got tattoos in Egypt.
So it seems like it was... I forgot what you said. Was this person of any like nobles, anything, or was it just a person?
They had an intentional
Or did
burial.
they know? Okay.
And so they weren't just some nobody, right? Because people cared about them enough to bury them. And they were found with some semblance of grave goods. So like...
Okay, so they it's like maybe like a middle manager.
Was this person also just thrown in a hole in the sand, or?
I believe they were both natural mummies with preserved by sand burials, because they didn't really do
Okay.
mummification back then. So
Okay.
the standard thing was a sand burial.
I wonder how much that costed back then, or if that even
I
costed
think
money
it was.
back then.
It cost the grave goods, right?
No, sorry, I meant
value of
getting
the grave
tattooed.
goods. Oh yeah, I don't know. I also wonder that. There's absolutely no way we ever could know that. I don't think, but
Why
No,
can't you?
absolutely
Why
not.
can't
But
you
I'm
find it out?
curious.
Do me a favor. I want you to report back next podcast your findings. Thank you.
Okay, but first I just need you to invent time travel and then let me know when that's done, and then I'll do that, and then I'll report back to you.
No.
All right, Beau, get on it. Bo,
Okay.
this is homework time.
Oh, but this is why I didn't go to college.
All right, I'll put it in.
and I saw something from
I'll put it in the inflation calculator. See how far back.
I saw something from an article that said you in response to the question of why these figures chose these tattoos, this person said they were a very sophisticated people 5,000 years ago. There's no reason why having a tattoo on their body wouldn't be as multifaceted as it is today. And I think that's cool.
I also think that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I think That's
Hey,
great.
I'm gonna pop in and say it's pretty cool.
I'm gonna pop in.
Yeah, I mean it goes
I think it's pretty cool.
it goes back to my original hypothesis of this is one of the purest ways we can express our humanity because people have been doing it for freaking 5,000 years.
I'm
I like
I'm
that.
gonna say that the inflation calculator website I put in doesn't let you use BC, so
Ugh, purists.
Before currency.
we'll never know.
And so I got one more big one that I'm going to talk about, and it's the Ice Maiden. The Ice
Whoa,
Maiden.
that sounds. Hold on, that sounds fucking awesome. That sounds like that's like a Led Zeppelin fucking song. That's just only a solo or something.
Oh, she rad as fuck.
Jump on us.
So
Tell me
she
about this
is a representative of the Pazyryk culture that thrived between the 6th and 2nd centuries BC in the Siberian steppes. So she was found in the Republic of Altai in Russia. Which
She's
is
a
kind
cold
of,
bitch, is what you're saying.
Mhm. And she
She
lived
cold ass.
2,500 years ago. She was a 25 to 28-year-old woman, and I'm going to dump on you just all of the things that she was found with because they're awesome. So she was found and buried in an 8-foot-tall coffin made out of a solid tree that was decorated with leather appliques depicting deer figures.
That's
Alongside
fucking
her,
dope, dude. Hold on, let's take a break after that one. An
Okay.
entire tree.
yeah, like a whole trunk of a tree that they like hollowed out and buried her in.
So, Zach, when you bury someone in the tree, you take a tree and you put somebody in it, and then you bury it.
Yeah, is that called a tree burial?
I think it's
It
called a
is.
tree burial.
That's why you put them in sand.
And then leather appliques that were shaped like deer.
That's fucking dope as shit.
And
This person
then,
obviously has style.
Alongside her were 6 beheaded horses. And then 2 male
Why?
warriors were also found. In with her, there was
They buried her with 2 other people,
2 male warriors were found alongside her.
like in the same coffin.
And not in the same tree, no, just next to her. Along with the horses. They
Oh.
were just next.
Okay, so that's. I thought they were gonna be like, hey, like this lady died. Let's give her a couple of hot dudes to go into the afterlife with. Hey.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that's not what it was. Inside
She
her
goes hard.
coffin, she also had food, cosmetics, cannabis, medicine, and she was wearing silk clothes. She also was wearing a 3-foot-tall crown/headdress that had 8 feline figures carved in it, and it was gilded in gold.
Holy shit! I heard she also had a Sublime CD.
She went out ready to party. This is just
Dude.
like there's just a constant party in the afterlife. You got hot dudes, you got hella weed, you got silk, you got everything you need.
Weed. Nerd.
Hot
so-
dudes and Halloween. Brrr, let's go.
Hot dudes and hella weed.
2 dumps and a chump time. What
Oh,
did the
hell yeah.
Ice Maiden have tattooed on her?
Oh shit!
Okay.
Zach, do you know this, or are you also abstaining
do.
from this one? Okay.
I'm also abstaining from this one.
Oh, so this is 2 chumps and a dump, so there's only one correct answer.
Ooh.
Oh
All right, are you ready?
no, but go for it.
A panther wielding a spear in its mouth.
Okay, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Stop.
A
You're being
phallic?
attached. Sorry.
A phallic wheat stalk ejaculating cannabis plants.
Okay. Give me a moment.
You just have to process that for
Okay,
a
finish.
second.
Imagined delicious. Okay, next.
Mhm. Or a stag with a griffin's beak and the horns of a goat.
Oh, those are also fucking
A-
cool.
and
Stag
the
with a-
horns also had a bunch of griffins' heads on them.
So a stag with a griffin's beak.
And the
Isn't a griffin's
And
head
the horns
just an
of a
eagle's
goat.
head?
Kinda. Wow, that's fucking dope as shit.
Sidebar.
The fact that sidebar. The fact that the Ice Maiden had any of these on their body is fantastic.
The fact that like at least 2 of those are true, and I think it's the last one. It's not.
No, only one is true.
Only one is true.
Only one is true.
I got it backwards.
one is
Okay.
true.
Oh fuck. Okay. I think
it's 2 chumps and a dump.
I think it's the ejaculation one. I'm just saying.
So you always seem to convince me to go with the bad choice.
And
and I'm not going to stray from that yet.
I think
So
we're
yes,
50-50.
that one too.
I think we're 50-50 with it.
Well, technically we're 33.33% chance. But
Okay, well,
let's-
we're no mathematicians here, so let's just.
All right, so you're saying that you think that the Ice Maiden had a phallic wheat stalk ejaculating cannabis plants on her.
Yes.
I know it's not that one, but I think it's that one.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect.
Ah.
Yes, see, it's the last one, right?
Yes, she had a stag with a griffin's beak and the horns of a goat. And then the horns has a bunch of griffin's heads along them. And then there's a griffin's head on the back of the stag as well.
That's so fucking cool.
I just.
I don't like. I feel like if there's a video game made about this person, it would be the dopest shit in the world. Or if you spent some time hanging out with this person with all of their cannabis and tattoos and hot dudes around them and dead horses, you would have a great fucking night. It'd be like The Hangover, but way cooler.
Yeah, so it's just, I did send a picture for you guys so you can see.
Everyone else is listening. You've got Google. It's not hard to find.
Whoa, that is fucking crazy. I love that.
Unfortunately, I mean, she was like super cool, but the reason that she died, they think, was due to breast cancer.
Boo,
They
boo
found
cancer, boo.
evidence of breast cancer on her when they CT scanned her. They also found evidence of a fracture, maybe of her falling off a horse. So they think maybe it was a combination of being weakened from cancer and then having an accident and ultimately dying.
It was horse cancer.
It's known in the Altai region of Russia that people use cannabis as
It is known.
As medicine for chronic pain, as like a pain reliever. And so the fact that she had that on her makes a lot of sense.
All right.
This is the first medical. She had the first medical card.
Well, I mean, this was before that was necessary because we've built ourselves into a jail. Foucault. Anyway.
That's why I have tattoos.
She had her shoulders down to her hands tattooed on one side, on her left side. They had mythologic animals. She had the deer with the griffin's beak. She had a panther with the legs of a sheep and a deer head. The 2 warriors that she was buried with also had more tattoos than she did, but they matched the style, and some of the animals were analogous. Like they had some of the same stuff that she had. It's really interesting that they all had tattoos start on their left shoulder. So like the ones who were older had more tattoos. So they think that the older you got, whether it's like you earn them or you just get them because you're alive longer. But they found young people with only 1 tattoo, and they're always on the left shoulder in this region.
That's really cool.
Whoa, that's why. What the hell?
Why not?
I mean, I don't think we really know, but there's something about that left shoulder that was important to people of this time.
Okay, so we don't know. There's never really a way that we're gonna know, right?
Yeah.
This is where people like Beau and I come in.
Hey.
Like you smart people have done your work. You found the mummy person, the dead body. You carbon dated or whatever, dated everything to find out exactly where they're from and what they had with them, yada 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 yada. But at a certain point, you're like, this is it. This is all the information we're gonna have. So then you toss it over to people like me and Beau, who speculate so wildly that something sticks. It's like a Michael Bay movie. It's like everything is just crazy at that point. So Beau, why did they only have tattoos on their left side?
You see, because they're always looking over that shoulder.
Okay, so that's like
From danger.
whenever they that or being mysterious. If they ever had like a suitor, they would always go, oh, and look to the left.
I'm just saying, do you ever look over your right shoulder? Anybody? Just right now. Just go ahead.
all the time.
Yeah.
I always look over
I mean,
my
ooh,
left
it hurts
shoulder.
my
Yeah,
neck.
exactly.
Looking over the left shoulder feels
Ooh.
way more natural.
Well, see, that's
No, the right does not. My right side's stiff. So
Yeah, that's what I mean.
just
Looking
choose
over the
side.
left, it's like, ooh, yeah, that's the direction to look over. The right, it's like, ow, that hurts my
See?
neck. No, thank you.
See?
And so is it like the mythical animals that are tattooed on their shoulders are always looking out over their shoulder for them?
That's good. I like that.
Exactly. You
Whoa,
get it.
hey, that makes sense. That sounds like something.
Let's write that up and we'll submit it to the Academy.
Yes.
And then Michael Bay with all the
that's
explosions.
officials, and then explosions happen. So yeah, exactly. If you're running away from an explosion and it happens behind you, at a certain point you turn around and look at it. Just to make sure you're not going to get Tom Cruised in that one movie where he's running away from the explosion.
Andrew, I know that you're like mostly joking, but like a lot of, I mean, not, I don't want to say a lot, but some of the stuff that people hypothesize about things like this is really just that. It's like them using their informed opinion to, you know, decide on a thing. Like, I mean, Zach, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of it is just coming up with a wild idea, and then where the training of like and the education comes into play is learning how to kind of like rule out your wildest ideas.
I think that comes with also being like quote street smart, to where if you see something and you say, why would they do this, rather than they have this thing. But a lot of people don't really know how to like ask why. Kind of like on the internet, when you see a video of somebody and it's clearly fake to most people, but some people are like, this is cool. Like, I can't believe this happened. But most people themselves, they're asking like, why is this being filmed? Who is this attracting to? Like, yada, 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 shit like that. So it kind of moves over into that too. Where
the why question
you have you ask the fucking why. Why is this happening? Why is this here? Like, if I'm running away from an explosion, why would I look over my shoulder, and why is it always the left side?
The why question is the bane of every person who studies like prehistory, we were saying, because it's a question you always ask, and it's a question you can never answer to the degree that you want to.
For any
it's a very
scientists that are
frustrating
listening,
phenomenon.
if you ever have any questions for why that you can't answer, give me a call. I will make some shit up that will make a little bit of sense and also entertain you.
And if you want me to say what he says in a Bane impression, I'll do that too.
Beau can do it. See, like if I'm like, oh, the tattoos are on the left side because blank. Now, Beau, say the same thing.
Oh, the tattoos are on the left because I'm
Oh, sorry. Could you, Beau? I'm going to get you a little warmed up here. It's a little theater trick. Just say howdy in a Bane voice.
Fuck, hold on. Here we get it. Ready?
I'm so ready.
Hold on.
I'm so ready for
Howdy. No, it's called howdy. No, I gotta cover the mouth. Hold on. Howdy.
Howdy. You really got to hit the ow.
Howdy.
Howdy, Batman.
I don't think that Bane would ever say howdy.
Yes, it would.
Howdy there, Mr. Sackman.
Howdy there, Mr.
Andrew, why are
Batman.
you so fixated on the howdy?
I don't know. It threw me off guard. It fucked my whole day up.
It really sent this whole
derailed me.
podcast
I love
spiraling.
it.
Here, I'll do Zach earlier. Oh, you're a pig, Beau. That's awful.
Oh, hello, Mr. Pigman.
Okay.
You eating at your slop
You
again,
eating
I
out of
see.
bowls again, you slop
you
factory.
fucking pig.
Wait, that turned into Sean Connery
And
real
so
quick.
going
It's really
back to
quickly to go to Connery.
speculation, people think that maybe I'm just gonna, every time I do
Ash is
these,
like
I just
herding
keep
cats every time.
barreling forward. So they think that maybe the tattoos, because so they hypothesize that the food and goods found in the burial chamber may have been used as a way to help the dead person navigate the afterlife. That's like a pretty common thing when finding like food and grave goods across cultures. I think like many different places. It's been hypothesized that that's why you leave stuff in a grave, and so it's been hypothesized that maybe the tattoos were similar for a way for family members to recognize each other in the afterlife, or maybe even throughout their lives. Like as they grow older, it's like a way to say who's who, which I think is kind of interesting. Or maybe it's like signify milestones in your life. When you do specific things, then you get the tattoos. Yeah, who knows? You know.
That again, or
I think that's really sweet.
look at this fucking cool horse with Griffin's shit all over.
Yeah,
it.
it's fucking rad
That's
as
fucking
fuck.
cool.
Like,
Yeah. Whatever the ancient Siberian word for, hey, this is rad is.
it'd be
I'm gonna
the
Google
Pazaryk word.
Translate it. I'm going to translate
Yeah.
Pazaryk.
PazyrYk. And I'm sure that that's not exactly how you say it, but I think it's Pazaryk. I'm not positive though, because I don't really speak any language that's not English, unfortunately. But a lot of people,
But it's in geographical Siberia.
a lot of people note that what's striking about these ones is, they're 2,000 years old, 2,500 years old, but they're remarkably similar to modern tattoos in style, in look, in placement. Like they look like they could just be tattoos that people today have. And I think that that's neat.
Well, yeah, why mess with the classics at that point?
Mhm.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke.
Do they know? Have they found like tattooing tools or anything like that? Do they know how these tattoos were made, like or put on the skin?
So I'm pretty sure, I don't know that they found tattoo materials themselves, but from what I read, it seems like they know that the tattoos were made by mixing soot and animal fat together to make an ink and then driven in with a needle.
I love that. That's badass.
So like really similar to what we have now. I mean, it's not like soot and animal fat, but it's ink driven into the skin with a needle.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how they found that out. They're like, someone was walking around with the needle, and they're like, oh, I got ink on my needle. Oh, I'm going to go wash it off. And they're walking over to the prehistoric sink, and then they tripped, and they poked themselves. They're like, wow, that stayed on my body.
Yeah, I think that it's probably very similar to when you were in school and you got stabbed with a pencil, and then you have a permanent pencil mark in your body, right? And then people are just like, oh, if I just do this on purpose, it'll...
I never had that happen to me.
You never got stabbed with a pencil? I have a mark on my kneecap because this kid...
Who stabbed
I
you?
still have a thigh. I still have a lead marking on my thigh and my hand.
What
Yeah.
prison schools did you go to?
Well, I fell on a pencil, and then someone stabbed me.
Yeah, I got stabbed.
Granted, I deserve.
you fell over. They're like, that was my pencil.
Well,
Here's a pen. Yeah.
I deserve it because I made your mom joke, but the kid's
What was the joke?
I forget.
What was the joke?
But his mom was dead.
Oh,
Bo.
God.
Ouch.
So I didn't know.
I don't...
You know how she died? Sand burial.
That's how she was buried, not
Yeah.
dead.
I don't specifically remember what I did to get stabbed with the pencil, but I'm sure I deserved it.
I was going to say, did you deserve it? That was the follow-up question.
I don't doubt for a second that I deserved it.
You walked up to a guy with a cowboy hat on. You're like, howdy, partner. And he's like, fuck you.
Well, here's the thing is I remember who did it, but I don't want to say their name because, I mean, there's no chance in hell that they'll ever actually listen to the podcast.
Do you still
but
know
It's
them?
just... No. Although
Okay.
my parents see them around town in our hometown, my parents will be like, did
Oh my
you just
God.
know that this person, I saw them, they work this place. I got their business card. You should go get a haircut from them. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, like, they already did something to my body that I'll never forget.
It happened in homeroom in high school. I want to say like
What's
sophomore-
homeroom?
What homeroom?
We didn't have
Is that an
homeroom
East
on the
Coast
West
thing?
Coast.
You didn't have
We didn't
homeroom?
have homeroom.
It was like it's like
No, we
What's
just had
homeroom?
1st through 8th period.
so
or 7th
yeah,
period.
we had a
What the
homeroom.
hell is
and
homeroom?
it was like the way that we were
Yeah.
organized into like homerooms, and so like every time that like there was a sort
That
of
makes
thing
no
that
sense. You're
Yeah.
saying the word over again.
Okay,
You're not
okay. So a
saying anything.
homeroom was that every teacher had class had
It's like Gryffindor?
but so like there was one period in the middle of the morning where everyone had to go into homeroom, and you would sit in homeroom, and any announcements that the teacher had to make, they would make. And so it was just a regular ass classroom. It was just like I was in Mr. Sarenbetz's homeroom. And so I had homeroom with Mr. Sarenbetz. And so it meant that every day we would go into school, we would have one class, and then I think there was a second class, and then we would all go to homeroom. Then they would do the announcements for the day, and the teacher would take attendance. And so that's how we would have like our global attendance for the day was the teacher would took it in homeroom. And so then homeroom also determined where your locker was. So your locker was outside where the room where you had homeroom. And like that was like how we were organized.
What did you do, though?
We sat there for
Did you sit there for like an
we
hour?
sat there for,
Like-
no, it was like 10 or 15 minutes. It was a short period. It was to make sure that we were all in a place where we were supposed to be so that they could take attendance and like
Okay, first period. First period. You don't need it. Go to first period. Your first class.
So then if you go to homeroom and then you ditch school after that, that seems like a bad way to take attendance, right?
I'm not
'Cause I
defending it. I'm
remember-
just saying that that's how it worked.
I'm just saying, go to your first period. Go to your first class. Boom. Your teacher takes attendance. Boom. Attended.
But
Well,
then,
in
where,
the
and
West
then
Coast,
how do
in
you
the
decide?
school
How
that
do
I-
you
in the
decide
school-
where the student? You decide where the students' lockers are. It has to be outside your home.
We don't
room.
have lockers.
Well, we didn't have
Zachary.
lockers.
We
either.
don't have
Yeah,
lockers.
there's no lockers on the
Also,
West Coast.
I think your school was a lot smaller than any of our schools were. So I think
It's
it works better when you have a smaller
also-
number of
yeah.
students.
So
Sounds
that's
dumb.
where that's where we
This-
got our tattoos on the West Coast. Was in the bathrooms.
Was,
Oh, yeah.
was
in
in homeroom.
lieu of lockers, there was a tattoo class.
You just
and
tattooed all of the information you needed. Instead of taking notes, you just tattooed it on
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
They're like, all right, time to get your books. That's fascinating to me. Not only the tattoo thing, but also what the hell homeroom is. I've never
Oh yeah, that was also where we all stood and did the Pledge
Yeah,
of
we all did that.
Allegiance.
I mean,
First
essentially,
period.
it's just like an organizational room that like.
All I'm hearing is a waste
Yeah.
of time.
I
One
agree. I
teacher
think
was
it's a waste of time.
responsible for a
Yeah,
group
it's a
of
waste
of
I
time.
mean,
All right, let's
It's
bring us
high
back on
school.
time.
It's
Let's
high
bring us
school.
back on track.
60%
We've
of
been
the
talking
day is
about
a waste
Homeroom
of
for
time.
way too fucking long.
I love this. This is fun.
This is weird.
So I will kind of bring us down. I'm going to bring us down a little bit. I'm talking about something like a little bit kind of fucked up. There was a little bit of controversy after the Ice Maiden's discovery. So they excavated her with great care, but due to the methods that they used, i.e., like not being prepared enough for keeping it as like an ice mummy, they artificially melted some of the ice to actually get to the artifacts below, and that like deteriorated. The tattoos faded, and some of the grave goods like deteriorated because of this like artificial melt that they did. They like applied heat to it essentially.
Really sad.
And then it suffered further deterioration from the transport from the site that it was found to the lab. And so the tattoos faded even more during that time. And then there was a whole problem where the native people of the Altai region were like, hey, it's super not cool for you to just like take a burial that was really important and just like take it away. And Russia was really shitty about it, being like, well, we did DNA and it says that it's not your DNA. And they were like, we don't care. It was found on our land with our grave goods in our culture. So like, it's not for you to decide. So it's just another instance of that, which is pretty unfortunate for what a badass the Ice Maiden was.
Always sucks when people's remains have to be politicized.
Yeah, they eventually did return her to the region where she was found 20 years after she was discovered.
Well, at least it's something.
I feel like that the British need to do that with everything that they've stolen too, but they won't. Beau, how do you feel about that?
The British? Hey, I got plenty
Sure.
of opinions on them.
Give me give me two of them.
Oh, well. Don't get me started, man.
And so those were the big, like the oldest ones. Those were the
That's
oldest
my
ones.
favorite. I love it when Ash just takes over again. we're talking about nonsense. It was like when I asked Beau in the roller coaster episode, like about the sexual position, and you're like, I'm just gonna keep on going.
This needs to get back on track.
So the Gebelline man and woman at 5,500 years ago. Let's see, at 5,300 years ago. I talked about the Ice Maiden at 2,500 years ago just because it's rad. Her tattoos are so freaking cool. Let me hit you with some other honorable mentions that I don't have as much in-depth information on, but I think are still awesome. The main one is the mustache man from Chinchorro. So he has little dots tattooed on his upper lip that look like a mustache. I've sent
Oh.
a photo.
Yeah, that guy parties.
And the Chinchorro mummies are fun because they're the oldest example of artificially prepared mummies in the world. They are in South America, in Chile. And the way that they did them was they disassembled the bodies and then reassembled them. So they like cut off all the skin and then they like removed the meat. And then they reinforced the bones with sticks and stuff. Then replaced the meat with like padding, like reeds and plant material. And then they sewed the skin back on over it. And then they put them in
like
big
Frankenstein monsters.
yeah, except they were already dead and they had no plans to bring them back to life. But
Because, well, the technology at the time.
yeah, it's true. They didn't have electricity yet.
And what's fun about the Chinchorro man is that no other Chinchorro mummies have tattoos on them as far as people can tell. So like, why did this guy have a little mustache tattoo? What was that about? But from what I can tell, nobody really knows.
That's pretty cool.
Maybe he couldn't grow one. Maybe that's just his way of, Go for it.
Maybe. Also, really awesome tattoos in prehistory or antiquity or whatever. The Chiribaya mummies from Chile and Peru. These are 3,000-year-old mummies. They're mostly female, and they have tattoos on their hands with imagery of birds and monkeys and reptiles, and they also had decorative and geometric circles. So that's pretty neat. Would you ever get a hand tattoo, Beau?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Why?
okay.
No, well, actually, I lied. I would, if I ever got married again, wishful thinking, I would get the ring tattooed instead of wearing a ring. That's just me, though.
Oh, so permanent.
Yeah. This one better. If I get married, it better stick. I'm not doing that 3 times. God.
And then, so I'm going to hit you with one last 2 dumps and a chump before we end it.
I'm ready.
What is the origin of the word tattoo? Is it Tahitian, from the word tau, which means to mark or to strike? Is it Dual, in Aboriginal language, from the word tratoon, meaning tradition? Or does it come from the sound that the needle makes when hitting the skin using early tattooing techniques? And you're looking for the incorrect answer.
Beau, Zach, do you know this?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Why do you know everything?
Yeah, stop
God,
it. Stop being so
I talked
fucking smart.
because I talked to him about it.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I didn't save it for the pod this time,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. Okay. Beau, what are you thinking? Sidebar. Or what are you thinking?
Which one's the wrong one?
Sidebar. Yeah.
The tattoo, the noise, the tattoo.
That sounds.
That was a fun noise you made.
Wait, it's 2 dumps and a chump, right? Or 2 chumps and a dump.
It's
Which
2
one?
dumps and a chump. You're looking for the one
so
incorrect answer.
Damn it, man! I want that one to be real, though.
I mean, why stop now and break formula? Let's do it.
You have never been more right in your life.
Thank you.
Number 3.
Number 3.
You think the 3 is incorrect? That is actually correct.
Son of a goddamn.
The word
I'm happy. I'm happy that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, no,
The
we're
word
good.
tattoo comes from the sound that the needle makes when hitting the skin in Tahiti, which is
Tattoo.
where they get in Tahitian, where they get the word tau, which means to mark or to strike, is from the sound that the needle makes when hitting the skin. Because the way that they do it in Tahiti is they have a needle that's on a long stick, and then they have a secondary long stick that they use to like hit the top, and like that's how they drive the ink into the skin. And so it goes tau. And that's just one part of arguably the richest tattooing tradition is from there's a very rich tattooing tradition in people from North America, but also people from Austronesia, I've seen as the term, essentially people from Oceania.
I feel like you're making up places. Never heard of any of these places.
Again, that's Game of Thrones. These are all in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Well, Austronesia is a term that people use to encompass all of the people who live in what is now like Southeast Asia, Polynesia, Melanesia area.
Aresia.
So it's like
And
a group of, it's like talking about a lot of different groups of people.
And New Zealand and Australia.
New
Because like
Zealand.
think
Yeah.
about like the Maori in New Zealand, their big tradition are those the tamoko, those face tattoos that they use.
And there's like
is how they
in a
play.
lot of different cultures in that region, tattooing is really important, and people are tattooed all over the place. It's one of the reasons that tattooing became popular in America was soldiers who were serving in the Southeast, saw all these tattooing traditions and brought that, and he got tattoos a lot of the times while they were serving in these areas, and then came back to America, and that kind of started to kick off tattoos in America.
Awesome.
And that's all I have for tattoos. So just some of the oldest representatives of what people have been doing forever, and I argue even further than the evidence allows for us, and we still do it today. And I just think it's super neat, and I love it, and I think more people should get tattooed. And I will always talk about tattoos with enthusiasm because I think they're rad.
Okay, I have a fun little game that we should end with.
Okay.
We should all decide a tattoo for someone in the pod, each person. So me, Ash, and Zach would decide Beau's next tattoo, and then Beau, Ash, and Zach would decide my tattoo.
Gosh.
But you're never going to get a tattoo, though.
Yada yada yada. Yeah, but this is theoretical. Come on, it's like a theoretical explosion from the last fucking episode.
This time it has to be a real explosion.
Okay, it'll be real. We'll get it right after this.
You're lying to me, and I hate you.
So Ash and Zach, what should we give Beau as a tattoo?
That's a good question. My initial instinct is just the word bow.
Beau is dead. That's it. It has to be Beau,
Mhm.
but it has to be in like fancy Victorian letters.
Oh yeah, like a really flowery,
A real serif
really
font.
flowery.
And the font in itself, like when you zoom into like a PlayStation 5 controller, you can see it's made out of plastic, but inside of the plastic is little X's and O's and squares and triangles. So inside of the font will be also a bunch of little bows that you have to zoom in on the microscopic level to find.
I pity that tattoo artist But sure,
I also just hate
since
it
it's theoretical.
it just sounds like every awful person who gets their like last name around their back or their stomach, and it's just like
This will be across your mouth.
Oh wait, no. Okay, how about instead of
Oh, it's
how
the
about
mustache
how
tattoo,
about
but it says Beau.
no, it's inside his
upper
upper
lip.
lip. You know how people get those bottom lip tattoos inside of their lip?
I go,
Oh, yeah.
Pull down your lip,
What's
and it
your-
just says Beau.
Hey, what's your name? I just lower my lip down.
Yeah, and you just pull your lip down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's it. Okay. What should we give Ash?
I mean the
Beau?
oh yeah. Do I contribute to
Yeah,
this?
you guys, both of you. Yeah, go
I
for
think-
it.
Yeah, let's-
Go for
let's
it.
feed off each other.
It's all three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the obvious is more skulls. That's too obvious.
I know, Ash has an affinity
It's
for
too obvious.
skulls,
And
and they're
it's too
currently
obvious.
getting a tattoo right now. So that is too obvious. We
I
should
have
go with
I have a
something that
gorilla
is-
skull, a raccoon skull, and a skunk skull tattooed on me currently.
All right. Well, if I know
I
anything about
remember
Ash,
growing up with Ash, we'd go to our favorite Mexican food place, and they would always order a plate of beans and cheese, and that was their favorite food. So I think a plate of beans is a great idea to remember your past and your future, because I think they still like beans.
I do like beans.
but the beans are
There we go.
shaped
Also
as a
potatoes.
butt.
Oh, bean butt.
It's a bean butt.
Ooh,
It's
bean
a
butt.
bean.
Bean butt.
I love
bean
it.
Well, it's a
butt.
robot with a
There
bean
we go.
butt.
Oh. So like it's like a,
When
like a normal cartoon
Yeah.
bean like that, but you put a little slit in the middle, so it's like, oh, look, it has a little butt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
That's
love
good.
that.
All right, solid.
I love
That's
that. Every
oh,
time I go to a Mexican restaurant, I judge their quality by the quality of their beans. Because if the beans don't have
That's the
flavor,
best way to do it.
nothing's
Yeah,
got flavor.
Exactly.
Exactly. If they don't take the time to make a good frijole, then
Yeah.
what's the point?
Absolutely.
All right, Zach, we're going to give you a howdy tattoo that shows you as a cowboy lassoing Beau with one of
But
those lassos.
it's me with the pig nose.
And Beau is a pig eating out of a bowl, and you're like, "Howdy, little piglet," and Beau's like, "Nom nom nom nom," eating
And
into
you're
a
wearing a
microphone with
jaunty,
a bowl.
you're wearing a jaunty Western hat.
And you have a handful of
Yeah.
hair.
Mhm.
Oh God.
There's a bag of hair strapped to your belt,
As was the style at the time, right?
and you say, "I found this."
Oh no! I got better. Same concept. Howdy, cowboy, me, pig, but he's shaving my hair off
Oh,
for himself.
Oh.
So one has a
He's
baggie.
like, I'm going to carbon date this
Yeah,
later.
He's taking clippers and he has a baggie ready next to him to put my hair into it.
I don't like
No,
this.
I don't like
That-
this at all.
I love
is
that
at
so
all.
much.
Okay, perfect. Make sure to get that.
It's beautiful.
I would have Beau. It's like it's a pig, but it looks like Beau. And Zach is riding him, and he's doing like a little cowboy thing, like yeehaw! But he's just saying howdy.
I like that too.
Mhm.
Simplicity.
Yeah.
It's nice.
But also me in the background making
Mhm.
pig noises.
So what are we gonna give Andrew for his first tattoo? I'm thinking like full chest piece or back piece.
It's the
I'm down.
Mighty Ducks logo. That duck
No,
with the-
no corporate shit. No
Okay,
corporate
fine.
shit.
It's just a duck.
I need some.
No,
I need
no,
some
it's-
hand tailored
okay.
shit from you
It's
guys right now.
it's a
It's a skull. It's a skull and crossbones, but instead of a skull, it's a hockey puck. And instead of crossbones, it's cross hockey.
and it's a mallard.
A mallard?
Yeah, a mallard sitting on a hockey puck.
Oh! I get it.
Oh yeah.
And then there's me.
How big
is
There's
this,
me in
though?
the background with the pig nose.
Mhm.
And there's some and no. It's in the background. It's Beau with a pig nose, and Andrew is fucking like suplexing him.
It's in a wrestling ring, and Andrew and Zach's in the crowd yelling "Howdy!"
I just want to get the album or the album art quote from this podcast tattooed on my face because I
Oh,
think it's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's good.
If we here, I'll put this in a statement right now. If we do this for 1 year, from the first episode, I will get the album artwork on my body.
Please don't.
I'm
please don't.
absolutely
I don't.
going to hold you.
I don't want
no,
that.
I'm holding you to that.
As the person who drew
that
that,
better
I
be
don't
the
want.
cold
I don't
open.
want that.
It is recorded and it's
listeners, remember this. Listeners, remember
That's a legal
this.
contract.
stated.
This is
I
legal
don't want you
binding.
guys. Oh no! Here's the thing too. No, the listeners need to email into what's the email, Zach?
Get dumped on.
Get dumped on podcast@gmail.com.
There
From
we
the
go.
first day of the release to remind us. So the first person to remind us, then I'll do it. You guys, you three cannot. Of the listeners must remind me. It's 1 year from the first episode drops.
Can
I
it
will
be
get-
something that's not the album
No.
artwork?
No, it's that.
Okay. Okay.
Hey Siri,
No, you can't.
remind me 1 year from today
You can't. You
for
cannot.
Beau to get a tattoo. Okay, it's done.
Yeah, but you can't remind it. The audience has.
It's written in stone.
audience
Now Apple
It
does.
has to be a listener,
It has to be
Andrew.
a listener.
It has to be a listener.
You're not listening?
Maybe it'll be our
You think-
one
do you
listener from
think Tim
Scotland
Cook
or our one
also
listener
is it-
from
is
Is
it
Ireland.
it 1
Tim-
year from
Tim
when we
Cook is
started?
like,
Is it 1
yeah.
year from when we started the pod, or 1 year from today?
The official release of the first episode of the podcast.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, we can
Okay,
do that.
Zach.
We can do that.
Zach, take us out. Take us out. This tattoo episode has been so unwieldy.
Here we go. There are two more things that we need to do. So first of all, Andrew needs to tell that story that you were talking about at the beginning of the episode.
He was gonna tell it after we.
We'll do.
As the
But you
epilogue,
can,
wasn't he?
we can do the you can do the bye-byes real quick, and then I can hop back in, being like,
Zach
"Oh,
has to do the
something-
outro.
Okay. And then the other thing
do the
was
outro
I
first.
was thinking that as an outro to the episode, because I've been listening back to them, right? And I feel like they all like they just kind of peter out. They don't really end, right? And so I think that the final bit of each episode should be us saying our favorite thing that we learned during the episode.
Oh, that's such a good idea, Zachary.
Yeah. Thank you. And so I'll start. My favorite thing that I learned is that a sand burial is when you bury them in the sand.
Andrew, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when Zach asked what a sand burial was,
Oh my
and
God.
Ash just explained it to him as if
Okay,
he
I
wasn't.
didn't say what your favorite part was. I said your favorite thing that you learned.
I learned learning someone about somebody is still learning in general. So when Ash calmly and just, well, that's when you bury someone in the sand, and it wasn't sarcastic. It was just purely informative, and I lost my fucking mind. That was so funny. So that was my favorite thing I learned. Also about the Ice Queen or whatever her name was.
Well,
The Ice Maiden.
well, that was
Ice
that was
Maiden.
mine.
She's bad
That's
bitch,
fine.
and I want to party with her.
Tell us,
Oh
Beau.
yeah.
My favorite was Andrew's laughing when you said buried in sand.
Oh my god, you guys!
Again, that's not a thing that you learned.
Does my knowledge mean anything to you?
Andrew's delight laughter of that made me laugh delightedly to it. It was great.
Take us out, Zach.
Okay.
Well, Ash, what did you learn about us during this, like, as a teacher?
I learned you guys are all mean to each other.
I
You
didn't
should
say
be nicer.
it was Zach and Andrew. I didn't do anything today.
It comes
was
from a
just-
place of love. It comes from a place of
and I was
love.
like, hey, man, why do you say howdy? And you're like, you're
I
so
know.
mad.
And, like, I got friendly fired of that because Zach's like, well, Andrew's
true.
being mean to me.
Zach
I'm just
started
gonna
lashing out at
yell
that
at
point.
Beau for some reason. I'm just like, hey, I'm just trying.
I'm going to
learn,
start
man.
every episode by saying howdy now, and you're not going to be able to stop me. I'm going to do this until I forget.
You got to do the howdy with your Casey Kasem impression. Like,
Howdy,
let's
this is
just do
howdy.
that.
This is Casey
Oh,
Kasem saying
howdy.
howdy doody there today. This is
Oh
it.
my god. All right, Zach, take us out Casey Kasem style.
I'm not going to do a take it Casey Kasem style. I'm just going to take us out. So this has been the Get Dumped On podcast, the Info Dump podcast. I have been Zach. That has been Andrew and Beau, and your host has been Ash for the evening or the afternoon or the morning, whenever you're listening to this podcast. If you liked this podcast, please rate and review us on Amazon and Spotify. Tweet about us. Send us an email saying that you liked listening to us. I'd really appreciate that. Our email is getdumpedonpodcast@gmail.com. We have an Instagram account, Get Dumped On. Is it Get Dumped On or Get Dumped On Podcast? That we
Get dumped on.
it
Get
doesn't
dumped
matter. But we haven't put anything on it yet. So eventually that'll happen. Maybe if I get around to it, if any of us get around to it. So watch that space. Something will happen. And yeah, so thank you for listening. And to that I say, bye. You're supposed to join in. You're supposed to.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye. This little
Bye-bye.
piggy's
Bye-bye.
going.
What's the
Bye-bye.
inverse of,
Bye-bye.
what's the
Bye-bye.
inverse of
Bye-bye.
howdy?
Duty.
Duty.
Ash and Zach are super smart. They went to college and learned a bunch of stuff. And Beau and Andrew didn't go to college because that's the way life goes sometimes. What happens when you put them together and you try to make them learn? Grab your friends, let's listen together on Get Dumped On an Info Dump podcast.
Andrew, tell us your secret story.
So epilogue here. So again, to fill you in from the beginning of the story, I just grabbed this metal, rusty, gross thing at the dump, and I turned to my left, and I threw it, and as it turned to my left, it swiped the bottom of my right knee, right below the kneecap, all the way down to the bone. It was wide the fuck open, and I remember looking down and being like, oh shit, I'm at the dump. This is disgusting. So I wrapped it up in a bunch of towels that I found in the truck and a bunch of bungee cords, and I actually finished my job. I unloaded the rest of the truck, and that was the first thing I threw off. So I finished the job, blood everywhere, dump everywhere, disgusting. I go to the doctor, and it took a long time, but they stitched me up or whatever, and I went back for a follow-up because I noticed there was a white thing hanging out of the wound. It looked like a string. And I was like, what is this? It makes no logical sense. I hit up our sister, who is an ER nurse, and they were like, I don't fucking know what that is. So I go to the doctor, and I was like, yeah, like, there's a white thing hanging out here. And it was like, I don't know, 3 inches long. And it seriously just looked like a string that was hanging to my leg. And the doctor, like, he's like, okay, did they do any stitches on the inside? I go, no. They didn't do anything. They just stitched it up, or they stapled it. They just, like a staple gun. And so he goes, okay. And he gets down on, like, I'm standing in front of him. He gets down on his knees and he, like, gets real close to it with his eyeballs. And he's like, oh, interesting. And he stealthily grabs something out of his pocket. And he just goes, I don't know what that is. He grabs it and snips it with scissors that he stealthily pulls out of his pocket. And then walks out of the room.
What?
No other words were said.
What?
Yeah.
What? I think that's about practice? What?
Yeah. And I was stunned. I was like, what? Like, that's how you do your doctoring? You just make decisions? And
So do you know what it was?
No idea what that was. Till this day, never found out.
Maybe that's why your kneecaps are out of place.
Probably, maybe.
Oh my gosh, that's horrifying. Ugh.
I think my kneecaps are out of place from just playing hockey way too much in my life and hurting them a lot.
Hockey.
But do you guys know I play hockey?
What?
I'll
You
do
play
another
hockey?
podcast.
That's weird.
What? Hockey?
So yeah, that's when he did that. I was like, that's how you doctor. That's how you be doctor. You go, I don't know, and then you just act. So that's my story.
You
is
don't
that
get an
I
hate
never went
that.
to a doctor
around.
again.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you for listening to my epilogue. Get
Yeah,
jumped
if you
on.
made it this far, I'm so sorry you had to listen to that. That was upsetting.
That's a long
Oh, I
epilogue.
love
I
it.
was,
Some people like gross shit.
That's true.
honestly, I was fascinated.
Of course you were, you fucking weirdo with your dentist tools.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, bye for real this time.
Bye, this little piggy's going somewhere.